So in trying to be a nice person, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Lapses?
There's some lapses
There's
here
some
and there.
lapses, yeah.
Sure.
So what do you think is the cause of those lapses?
Couple things. Fatigue.
Yes?
Probably confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure. The confusion would be not sure exactly what I want, and so from there, then I'm clumsy with other people.
Mm-hmm.
Probably those things.
So when you're not nice to somebody, how do you feel usually? Yeah. You feel guilty?
A little bit guilty.
Yeah.
A little bit not guilty.
Okay. But if there's a little bit of guilty, sort of like being a little bit pregnant, you either feel guilty or you don't.
Okay, well
there's guilt there, then you feel guilty.
Okay, well yes, there's definitely some guilt there, and
Uh-huh.
probably there's a part that maybe feels justified, or
Well, that's not the guilty part.
that's not the guilty
No, that's
part.
the part that.
That's the other part.
Yeah, that's the other
little
part.
not guilty part.
That's definitely the not guilty part. So, but the guilty part is what interests me.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because the guilty part is a kind of a flag, and what the guilty feeling is telling you is that there is a sense that you were responsible. If you're going to feel guilty about something, the implication is pretty clear that
Yeah.
you could have done it differently,
Mm-hmm.
and you should have done it differently. So this is where, or here in this room, we kind of begin the investigation as to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're about here is all about looking at what's going on, looking at life, looking at this being alive business, and to try and understand what's really functioning, what's really at play, what's really causing what happens to happen. So when you feel guilty, the clear implication of that is what is causing that thing you feel guilty about to happen is you.
Does that make sense?
So we look at that and say, is that really true? Is what is causing this thing that you feel guilty about to happen really you? Was it a result of your authoring? Were you the source of that which you feel guilty about? So that's the question that we're raising here. And we don't answer the question.
Oh.
Okay? That's up to you. You see, you've got to really, in order for it to be of any meaning or any use at all, is you've got to do the work yourself and look for yourself and see if you can truly see whether that's true or not, whether you were the source of that you feel guilty about, or whether that action you feel guilty about, whether that was the product of vast environmental and genetic and biological forces. So your blood sugar balance at that moment, your hormonal balance at that moment, all of which you know from your own experience have profound impacts on how you react to things. Yet you don't control your blood sugar. Theoretically, you can watch your diet. But even so, how your body processes a given piece of food in a given moment you don't have any control over. You certainly don't have any control over your hormonal balances. That's influenced by the moon and whatever forces of life are out there. And you experience that in your body, every month. That kind of profound shift in your beingness. And women particularly have that kind of experience. So you know all that. You know that just by your experience of being alive, of being you. So when you begin to look into this experience of your livingness, this experience of who and what you are, and how you react, and how you act, and what's going on with you, that is outside of your control, you then begin to see that these actions that you're claiming, or your ego is claiming, or my doing, are actually the product of vast forces. Vast forces far outside of the control of this body and mind organism. This you that you consider yourself to be. So that's where we're pointing your attention. To say, look into this, if you're moved to, and that it is a rich vein. It is, there is tremendous insight to be had there. Whether you mine it or not, we can't say. But it is there to be mined. It is there, that insight is there to be had. And so that's what this teaching is pointing you to look there, to see if those, and guilt is, as far as I've been able to determine, the best possible laboratory for that kind of investigation. Number one, because guilt causes pain, there is a built-in reinforcing mechanism to be rid of the pain. So if there is some way I can free myself from this, you're motivated, much more motivated to look in that area than you would be at, let's say, pride. Pride, well, okay, I'll live with it for today. Even though it has the seed of the same suffering in it that guilt does, because pride and guilt are two sides of the very same coin. If you've got one, you've got the other. But guilt is by far the more painful one on the surface. So you're motivated to look there. And secondly, it is a completely clean field of inquiry, meaning there is no practical value in guilt. See, lots of other things that you might investigate and look at the source of get complicated by the fact that they are functional aspects of yourself. And they have to come up in order for the organism to function. And qualities like anger and fear are very much programmed kind of responses that virtually every human being has. And seeing where that is egoically connected can be very complicated. But guilt is always the product of the sense of personal authorship. The sense that I'm the one making it happen. And that's why we point you there and say, look there and see what you can see.